Okay, so today we'll continue our NCRT class, and in today's class we will take little more advanced topics. Okay, and in this advanced topic we are going to discuss few important areas which are mostly the current affairs. So most of them have a similar query that how to link their aspects of NCRTs with the regular current affairs. So let me take today a similar session where you will understand how to link the NCRTs and the current affairs. All right. So just let me drop a message that the session has started. See, we have gone through a very important concept yesterday. In this concept, it talks about the exterior area of the earth, like what is the biosphere, what is the environment, okay, what constitutes the important areas of the biosphere, environment, etc. Today, in this session, we will be discussing a very important concept. Okay, the concept which is nothing but glacial lake outburst, glacial lake outburst flooding. Okay, today we'll be discussing the very important concept that is the glacial lake outburst flooding, and what is the relation of the glacial lake outburst flooding with the black carbon. And where does the black carbon term I have picked from? Your NCRT. Okay, your NCRT clearly talks about the black carbon. Okay, and the black carbon is in news. All right, and this news is that the Himalayan region are facing glacial lake outburst flooding, GLOF. Okay, so how it is different from the other lake outburst. See, glacial lake outburst flooding. See, simple term, it says that these are the Himalayan regions. And there are the glaciers here. There are certain glaciers here. Okay, so these glaciers are getting melted. When these glaciers are getting melted, what happens in the regions like Sikkim? Okay, in the regions like Uttarakhand, we have certain lakes. Okay, so these are the lakes which are strongly built, and they have certain defined geographical location, and these lakes are the lifeline, water source for the people of the hilly region. All right, am I not audible? Because I've got direct messages. Am I not audible? Am I audible? I'm audible, man. Don't send me again a message. Check your mic or log in again, but don't send me again a message, direct message. You're continuously posting me the same message, not audible. Okay. Your voice is breaking. You also switch on and switch off your computer. Till that time, the entire session will be done. Sikkim is one region. Okay. Sikkim is one region where you get this freshwater lakes, where you get this fresh water lake. Okay. Now what is happening here is the black carbon, and how do we link this to glacial lake outburst flooding? See, these are the glaciers, okay, mountain to certain ranges, and these are basically freezed one. What is happening in Himalayas is the temperature is getting shooted up. In Himalayas, the temperature is getting shooted up. Due to this, there is a warming impact. There is a warming impact. Due to this warming impact, these glaciers, okay, are getting melted up. When these glaciers are getting melted up, what will happen? They will start hitting these lakes. Start hitting these lakes. So when they start hitting these lakes will start, okay, bursting now. These lakes will start bursting, which results into flooding. Okay. Now you have to know, as per the NCRT, what is the role of black carbon in this. Why are you pointing at black carbon? Why are you pointing at the black carbon? What is the role of black carbon? Okay, what is the role of black carbon? See, black carbon is a term given in NCRTs very clearly. Carbon dioxide is given very clearly. So what is the role of black carbon, which has resulted into glacial lake outburst flooding? Now, black carbon is a result of this. I mean, like, so black carbon has resulted into this. There are floods, okay, and they are large scale floods in Sikkim and Uttarakhand. These are the floods which has resulted in large scale loss. The scientist has, given an advice to the government of Sikkim and Uttarakhand to go for siphoning. This could be your question. Siphoning. Siphoning is a method. Siphoning is a method where you translocate the water content, the fresh water content from one lake to another. Okay. Siphoning is a method where you translocate the water content from one lake to another in order to reduce the disasters. But the lakes which are very nearby to Himalaya regions, they get piled up, okay, with this huge level of water, which are resulting into breakage of this dams. So why are this glaciers are melting? The reason is black carbon. So in this class, we have to study what is black carbon, and from where the black carbon is emitted, and who is responsible for this black carbon. See, very simple. How do you read NCRTs? How do you read NCRTs? This is the main question. Now I will show that I have picked from your NCRT the black carbon whenever I take that particular topic of exterior part of the earth. So black carbon I have fixed. Okay, and you have to link this concept of black carbon with the current affairs and read this current affairs now. Apply this current affairs to the present concept. Without concept, there is no NCRT. All right. Now, black carbon. Let us now read about black carbon. What is the role of black carbon? What it is making in the environment? And what is the role of India? How much black carbon we are emitting? What is the role of China? And how harmful is the black carbon? This is what we have to read now. See, black carbon, you have to know about aerosols first. What are aerosols? Aerosols are something like a particles, that is a fine particles, dissolved, okay, in air. We can say very, very dense. I mean like lighter in nature, sorry, and can be easily, okay, can be easily absorbed. That means solution particles, we can say. In this case, if I see, these can be considered as fine particulate matter. Okay. Now, if I consider black carbon, this is an emission. From where it is emitted? It is basically emitted from incomplete combustion. Incomplete combustion. Second point, biomass burning. Please tell me, where is biomass burning common in India? Where is, quickly? We don't have time. Where is biomass burning common in India? Very good. Okay. Biomass burning is very common in Punjab, Haryana belt. Okay. Western UP, stubble burning. Here you get enormous amount of black carbon. All right. I hope it is clear. Western UP, not entire UP, Western UP. So it is also from diesel exhaust. It is also from the diesel exhaust. So these are like fine particles. These are like the very fine particles. Okay. And how it is different? What are its range? That is what we have to understand now. See, what black carbon is trying to do is, black carbon once emitted, it will, okay, black carbon once emitted, simply it will shoot it up to the atmosphere levels and gets accumulated here. Okay. From here, remember, black carbon is a strong absorber of sunlight. It is a strong absorber of sunlight and heat. Yesterday we have discussed there is one other element which is a very strong absorber of IR. What is that answer? Which is a very strong absorber of IR. This we have discussed yesterday. You're again saying ozone here. Come on, carbon dioxide. This we have discussed yesterday very clearly. Answer is carbon dioxide. Okay, stop. Good, 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 good. So black carbon, remember, 25 to 35% of the global, 25 to 35% of the global black carbon is very important facts from India and China. Remember, 25 to 35% of global black carbon is from India and China. This is majorly due to burning of your agricultural or your waste or your industrial, etc., or industrial or etc. Okay. Now black carbon is also, see, These are man-made. These are man-made. They are also natural. Tell me few examples of natural. Few examples of natural where black carbon is emitted. Few examples of natural. Volcano. Very good. Volcano. Wildfires. Wildfires. Okay. Volcanoes. Wildfire. Forest fires. Okay. Forest fires. All right. So all this comes under the natural part. Okay, all this comes under the natural part. So you have to consider the natural part also, and also the man-made also. Okay, now what this black carbon in, remember, very stronger, it is very stronger next to carbon dioxide. Very important fact, it is very stronger next to carbon dioxide. So how much carbon dioxide can absorb heat? Almost that much black carbon can also absorb heat. So these are very important facts. Black carbon, what happens once it gets emitted? Very lighter. Okay, moves up to the atmosphere, and it's get accumulated here in the atmosphere. All right. So in case of this is Earth, the outgoing terrestrial, are this short waves or long waves? Please answer quickly. Are these short waves or long waves? Are these short waves or long waves? Very nice. Very good. So these are the long waves. All right. These are the long waves. So basically these are getting trapped here by carbon dioxide and also by black carbon. Okay. It is something like a soot particle. Yeah. Very fine soot particle. ఓకే ఓకే అమ్మ సూట్ పార్టికల్ అంటే బూడిద అమ్మ దుమ్ము లాంటిది అంటే ఆల్మోస్ట్ ఒక డస్ట్ లాంటిది ఓకే సో హియర్ it gets accumulated here. Okay, fine. What is happening here? It is getting, now these both are absorbing now. Earlier what did we learn? Only carbon dioxide was absorbing, and it is trying to reflect the heat back to the earth. Now they'll absorb more, and what they will do, they'll again reflect back to earth. Due to such reflection, okay, the Himalayan region where you get this glacials, all right, Himalaya region where you get this glacials, these what happens to these glacials, they will start melting now. Due to such melting, the lakes are getting piled up now with water. Even if you do siphoning, it's not possible. So due to this, there is a glacial lake outburst flooding. Okay. So what questions can be asked from there? You should understand now, people preparing for group 1, for group 2, people preparing for civil services, you should understand here very clearly that the questions which can be asked is what is siphoning? Okay. What do you mean by siphoning here? Another question which can be asked is, what are the reasons for the melting of glaciers? What is black carbon? Okay, what is black carbon? Sources, sources of black carbon, from where black carbon is emitted. Okay, and you should remember the sources, man-made and also natural. All these are the sources. See, I have just taken one example to explain you, okay, what is the black carbon and how do you link with the current affairs. This was the very common question where people have posted in the comment section, and I also have got a wonderful comments from you people about the teaching, about your personal words about me and the relation which you had from past 2-3 years. So thank you so much for that. I was very happy. I have shared all those comments with my basically with my mother. I was going through all those comments which in the application form which you have submitted. So thank you so much for that, for the love, for the regard which you have shown. Okay, so let me now take to a very important section, which is nothing but the second half, which is nothing but the second half. Till here we have discussed yesterday. Okay, and today we will discuss now how are we going to go ahead with the next chapter of NCRT. See, Earth is definitely a dynamic planet. Why are we calling it as a dynamic? Because changes occurs here rapidly. That means it will undergo some changes rapidly. So remind me, I will teach you in the last, what do you mean by Earth hour rapidly changes, Earth day rapidly changes, Earth overshoot. All right. So I'll teach you here what is Earth hour, what is Earth shoot, and I'll teach you what is nothing but Earth day at the end. Okay. Now, see, interior of the Earth, when we consider what is the interior of the Earth, siphoning means like very simple. Siphoning means you will try to translocate the water from one location to other location. That's it. There is nothing much about siphoning there. Okay. Now remember here one important point, that is like interior of the Earth. So when you take interior of the Earth, we have crust. Okay, we have mantle, we have crust. Next is we have mantle and we have core. So these are the three important layers, which are the interior layers, exterior layers outside atmosphere. Okay, that I'll teach you in the next chapter. So crust, what does crust comprises of? What does mantle comprises of? Core. Core is the innermost part. Core is the innermost part. Now, how does the core works? This is what we have to know now. See, just like an onion, the earth is made up of several concentric layers, one inside another. That is true, but we can look at here. So the uppermost layer over the earth's surface is called the crust. See, you just highlight this uppermost layer over the earth's surface is called as the crust, and it is the thinnest of all the layers. Obviously, it is thinnest in sense that is talking about the areas like He's talking about the areas like which is. Can you see my screen? What am I teaching now? Can you see my NCERT screen? Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay. So just write down in your class notes like thinnest pun. This is important. Most people get confused here. Thinnest is the crust only. Why are we calling it as a thinnest? Because its coverage is very, very small when compared to other things. Core, mantle, if you compare, crust coverage is very, very less. Okay. So, and it is about 35 kilometers on the continental masses and only 5 kilometers in the ocean floors. That means it is going to change. It is going to change. And when you consider this continent level, you will consider from here. When you consider ocean part, this part you have to remove it. And from here, when you calculate, the crust part will definitely going to be changing. Okay, it will definitely will make some sort of changes. Differences will be there. So remember, you have to read these such areas, underline these areas and make a note of these areas. Even though you know, even though you are perfect, okay, make sure that you sit and cover all such things. Now here the important point is about the crust. What is that area it covers? What is its density? Three things you have to remember. Now the main mineral, what do you get in this crust? First one is silica and second one is alumina. You call them together as, okay, you call them as Sial. Okay, you call them as Sial. All right, you call them as Sial, that is silica and alumina. The oceanic crust mainly consists of silica and magnesium. It is therefore called as Sima. Okay, oceanic crust we are talking about. We are talking about here oceanic crust, and earlier case we spoke about the continental mass. Underline this continental mass here. Underline here continental mass here, and underline here oceanic crust. Two important points. Two important points. One is continental mass. If it is continental part, you call it as Sial. If it is oceanic crust, we call it as Sima. All right, silica and magnesium. You have silica there and you also have magnesium there. Next, just beneath the crust is the mantle which extends up to 2,900 kilometers. That's the reason we called crust as very thinnest layer, because its coverage is very, very low and we call it as a thinnest layer. So how will you write your notes? Just draw earth and show up to certain limit you have crust. When you have already written crust there, make sure that first thing you write there Sial, second thing you write there Sima. Okay, so where will you cover this Sial part? In the continental mass. Where will you cover this Sima part? Sima part is in mostly in the oceanic area. Okay, that's it. Just write down these two areas and we are done with the crust. So you again come down to the next area where you consider the innermost part now. Now what comprises of the innermost part here? What comes under the innermost part layer is the core with the radius of 3,500 kilometers. So please arrange them in order as per their coverage. which occupies the maximum and which occupies the least. The one which occupies the maximum is the core greater than the mantle greater than the crust. All right, because the core part occupies 3,500 kilometers, and I guess the mantle part occupies around 2,900 kilometers. Okay, and the continental part and this ocean floor occupies around 35 to 5 kilometers. All right, so this is about the coverage area of all this inner part, all this inner part. See, when you consider the most inner part, very important aspects which you should know, other important things are, other important aspect we should know here are about what are those deposits. We get it as part of interior of earth. What are the things we get as part of the interiors of the earth? Example, we get shale. Shale is very important gas. What is shale? Shale is a gas. Okay, shale is a gas, which is a very important gas, which has a very similar composition of the hydrocarbons of crude oil. Okay, almost a similar composition of hydrocarbon elements of the crude oil. So what is the use of shale? Where do you get shale in? Do you have shale in India? Do you have shale in India is the question mark. Where do you get shale first of all? There are three types of rocks. Okay, one is igneous. Second one is metamorphic. Third one is sedimentary. Okay, these are the different types of rocks which are available. Okay, one is igneous, second one is metamorphic, third one is sedimentary. Igneous means what? Newly formed, I can say, which is basically erupted out of, okay, the igneous material from volcano, we can say. Metamorphic are those which will undergo certain changes, and the changes occurs in their grain structure due to certain pressure, due to certain temperature, due to certain wind. Okay, igneous are the real material. Out of this real material, metamorphic are formed. These metamorphic will undergo certain changes. Grain structure will change, pressure, temperature, and wind. Metamorphic finally will form into sedimentary. Sedimentary means what? Those rocks which are very much settled in nature. These which are very much settled in nature, okay, which are very much settled in nature, undergo certain pressure, certain temperature, added with the dead matter of animals and plants, together forms fossil fuels. Over a generation of time, they form the fossil fuels. And out of this example, we have shale. So where do you get shale? Directly in the sedimentary. This is one very, very important question. Shale is the gas which you directly get in the sedimentary rocks, and shale will have a directly a features of a fossil fuel. Where do you get a shale now? Where do you get a shale reserves? The reserve, the shale reserves we get to see in most of the areas. For example, Assam, Assam Arakan Basin, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. Here we have the probable site of shale. Very important site is Ganga Basin. Ganga Basin we get this shale. Cambe Basin we get it a shale. Godavari Krishna Basin we get the shale. Damodar Valley Gondwana Basin we get the shale, and also the Kaveri Basin. Okay, this is the very important area, most potential area. This can be asked in your question. Already one question was already framed out of the shale gas, shale gas reserves in our country. What are the shale gas reserves in our country? Such question was already asked. Okay, remember Ganga Basin, Assam, Krishna Godavari Basin, and Kaveri Basin, Cambe Basin, and the Damodar Valley. So only 5 to 6 areas are the most probable areas which you have to remember as part of the shale. Again, you get it in sedimentary rocks only, so you need not worry about this. And to elaborate this, I can say that look at few important areas. Okay, like Satpuras, okay, Satpura Reva Basin, okay, Damodar Basin. So ONGC is working here. Oil and Natural Gas Corporation shale gas pilot project has been initiated here. Assam Basin you have, okay, Son Mahanadi, Chhattisgarh Basin, Pranahita Godavari Basin. These are like the prospective, the most probable regions. Okay, these are the proven regions. The proven regions are Camben, Krishna Godavari, which is already existing, Kaveri and Assam. So I'll point it out here: 1, 2, 3, 4. If anything is asked in your exam, you should write down these 4 important areas, which are the most important proved reserves. Okay, prospective means what? Future. I am expecting that there is an availability of the shale region here, shale gas region here. Okay, so for exam you have to remember the proven regions, the proved regions, or potential regions, or the potential regions. If you take potential regions, so you take those things which are in orange color, proven regions which are in the blue color. Okay, so make sure that because of, yes, all the composition sedimentary like fossil fuels, how fossil fuels are formed, share is also formed in the same way. So see, basically you won't get all this in NCRTs. It is you who have to define things. Now definitely it is coal bed methane here, conventional gas is available, sandstone is available. Now here you get the rich combination of the shale gas. Now how do you extract shale gas? How do you extract the shale gas is the important form for us. See, shale gas extraction is not that easy. For example, if this is the surface, and if I come to know in this region there is an availability of shale gas. Okay, so what I will do, first I will go for the horizontal, first I will go for the vertical drilling, identify them this area, and I will go for, okay, horizontal drilling here in this area. So I'll open up the wings here, I will go for the horizontal drilling in this area first with vertical drilling. Important elements which I used for extracting, what is that I will use it? I will use water, I will use sand. I will use jelly-like substance. I will use the jelly-like substance. This jelly-like substance is called as guar gum. Okay, is called as guar gum. So what I will do here, I will inject here water, sand, and this jelly-like substance guar gum. All will be useful in extracting the shale gas. I will inject them. I will try to extract the shale gas. Now, out of all this, what all I have taught this guar gum is very important. Okay, see, you extract guar gum mostly from the guar seeds. Guar gum, this was asked in your exam already. What is so special about the guar gum? Guar gum is one substance which is jelly-like substance, which is a very important element used in the extraction of shale gas. Used in the extraction of the shale gas. So guar gum is derived from guar seeds. Is from guar seeds. And where do you get guar seeds? Abundantly available in India. Okay, basically in the regions, in few particular regions, that is in the regions of Rajasthan, in the regions of Madhya Pradesh. Here you get enormous availability of these guar gum. Okay, all these are very important facts. You should remember these facts for group 1, group 2, civil services. These are the very important facts. So guar gum is derived from the guar seeds. Okay, these are derived from the guar seeds. Now USA has rich deposits of shale. USA has rich deposits of shale. So when USA has rich deposits of shale, remember USA do not have adequate availability of guar seeds. So where does that USA imports guar seeds from? They import guar seeds from India. That means USA has this lock, then the key is with India. So India has enormous production of the guar seeds. So guar seeds are very important. Without guar seeds, you cannot extract jelly sticky like substance. Now you will extract making use of guar seeds. You get it in this region. Okay, and what are the difficulties in extractions of these shale gas? See, basically shale, you have to read from your NCERT, link this shale to the current affairs. Black carbon from NCERT, link again with to current affairs. This is how you have to read. You have to put little bit efforts. Okay, and within 1 hour we can easily finish up the all the topics. Now what are the environmental issues in extracting? Okay, see, gas can be leaked, or it can be gas can be leaked, or it can be, enormously could be and be outburst here. Okay, in this case gas emission to atmosphere. Okay, and basically here the contamination can take place where you try to extract. So contamination, this is very important point. Contamination of the groundwater. Contamination of the groundwater during extraction can take place. Contamination of groundwater due to the solutes or the chemicals which you used. You're using basically chemicals, right? That can also contaminate the groundwater. Contamination of soil surface also possible. Surface of the soil is getting contaminated. Groundwater is getting contaminated. Okay. And inadequate transport treatment, because there is an enormous amount of wastewater again. So wastewater needs to be absorbed properly. and these has to be treated very properly. Okay, so it means when you extract, this is how you extract the shale gas. See, look at, this is how you drill vertically first. Once you reach the point, you go horizontally with the open up wings like an umbrella, and you start extracting the shale gas. Okay, so this is about the most important topic of shale gas, and the important topic it respect to interior of the earth. Okay, and which comprises of the shale and the black carbon. Now, when we consider about the rocks and minerals, you should just remember here that the most important aspect, there are three major types of the rocks, as I've just told you: igneous, sedimentary, and the metamorphic rocks. So you have to highlight them, and I have taught you one current affairs with respect to these. When the molten magma cools, it becomes solid. Rocks thus forms are called as igneous. I told you like these are the parent form, and these parent form will correspond to the igneous. These are the newly formed, I can say, or the parent form. And they are also called as the primary rocks. Underline what are primary rocks. Primary rocks are the igneous rocks. And next, there are of two types again. What are those? Intrusive rocks and extrusive rocks. See, this is just a 7th class NCRT, and remember the content you get it in the content which you get it in the NCRTs, okay, are quite difficult. It's not that easy, and you have to make sure that you have to highlight that content properly. Okay, and these are called as primary intrusive rocks and extrusive rocks. So when the molten lava comes on the earth's surface, it rapidly cools down and becomes solid. Rocks formed in such a way on the crust are called as extrusive. They have a fine grain, for example, basalt. All this I will explain you. What is it textbook not visible still? Is it a textbook visible? Okay, fine, great. It's called as an basalt. So how do you consider things? What all the things which get added here? Okay, what are the things get added here? What are the things you should underline here to read the statements of basalt? Read the statements of what are intrusive and what are extrusive. We will discuss now. Now, next important point, if I say underline here what are intrusive, what are, can someone answer what are intrusive? See, one common thing here is igneous. Igneous is common. What are intrusive and what are extrusive? What are intrusive and what are extrusive? Inside, that's it. Something which is inside inner form rocks, something which are formed inner something which are formed outer. Okay, when this volcano erupts, few things which comes out and get settled here, few things are getted, okay, settled here. So these are one type of rocks, and these are the other types of rocks. Now you read here, the rocks which are like molten lava comes from the earth's surface, rapidly cools down and becomes solid, then this called as an extrusive rocks. Other one called as an intrusive rocks. Intrusive rocks, extrusive rocks. Very important prelims. Inner intrusive, outer extrusive. That's it. Okay. Now what are called as sediments, sedimentary rocks. This you have to highlight here. Important point, that what comes under the sediments. Like see, a sedimentary rocks, I'm saying that sediments can be transported by wind, water, and they are compressed, hardened to form layers of rocks. and called as sedimentary rocks. That means what? Over a period of time, they will undergo certain geological changes, okay, where temperature, pressure, okay, the wind, plant and dead animal decay gets added, and they get settled for long period of time, and they form the fossils, okay, because we can also say they are much settled there. Next important is, next important here we can say that igneous and sedimentary rocks can change into metamorphic. Obviously, igneous it has to be first one. First it undergoes, it makes igneous. Then I told you it will convert into metamorphic, sedimentary, metamorphic, and sedimentary, or they'll form a combination, can easily make up the metamorphic. Okay, anything can be possible under the great heat and the pressure. For example, this one example can tell you very clarity that clay changes into slate. This one example which was asked in exam. Okay, here the clay is getting, clay changes into the slate and limestone into the marble. So what is the basic form of marble? This is what was asked. Basic form of marble. What is the basic form of clay? This was asked. Okay, marble, limestone, slate, clay. Just remember those: marble, limestone, slate, and the clay. These are the two important forms we should remember. Now, other areas. One second. Other areas, if we consider, what are the important areas that you should highlight in this pattern? See, these are like the stones. For example, if you take seven stone, Pito and Hopstap, Stapu, this were never asked in your exam, may not be. So you not take risk about such statements. Now, what is the rock cycle here? Remember the different rock cycle we can say. Here it is, for example, what is magma, what is metamorphic, what is sedimentary, how are sediments formed, what are igneous. So here you have the multiple directions within which extensive, intrusive, such kind of rocks are formed. So go through what we have already discussed. So rock cycle is that cycle where, here the meaning of this statement states that due to certain pressure and temperature, there is a change in the grain structure. There is a change in the grain structure which will make certain transformation in the rocks. Okay, and that will make, see, firstly it forms the igneous. That is what we have discussed. Later it will make us to form some other type of rocks. Now, in this case, if I consider the first half, which states that rocks are made up of different minerals, that is true, and they are natural substances which have certain physical properties and definite chemical composition. For example, you take coal, natural gas, and petrol, and etc. So you need not go through this. What are the important areas I have highlighted? So what is the outcome? What is that you have to do out of this chapter? What is that you have to read? See, how we have discussed about the shale. This is how you should make sure that you should go through the important areas of shale and interior, exterior, okay, intrinsic, extrinsic. Okay, what is the role of black carbon? Okay, what are the different forms of rocks we have get to see, different regions of the shales. Okay, and also very much in detail I have discussed about black carbon. Okay, very much in detail I have discussed about black carbon. So what are the important topics I have discussed is, one is black carbon, glacial lake outburst flooding, which is from that only. And the very important other aspect is about the shale. All right. So about the shale. So this is about your second session of the NCRT. So remember, you have to go through. No, I'll teach Earth Hour whenever in the next slide it talks about the interior and exterior of the Earth. So there I will teach you what is Earth Hour. All right. So I hope this session was useful for you. So that this session was very useful for you. And I have also dropped a document there. So try to fill up that document. And tomorrow there will be one more session on environment. I will take two more current affairs topics and I will link with NCRTs. Fine. So thanks for being for 1 hour and it's been very late for your dinner. So make sure that you have your dinner, spend some time with your family, take care and come back. You will definitely get recorded classes of this. I'll post in the Telegram channel and you can can watch again. Okay. And prior to this, I wanted to tell these two are the most repeated concepts with respect to environment, which are in news. All right. Thank you. Take care. Good night.